Hi, thank you so much for joining me today. And in today's video, I'm going to be documenting a photo of mine and Lianne's feet. They're in roller boots, and this was Lianne's 36th birthday, and she decided she wanted to go to Wigan roller rink. So she, her husband and myself all went up there one afternoon and had a really lovely time. I think it had been about 30 years since I was last roller skating, so it was a steep learning curve, but I did really enjoy it in the end. So this is just to document that because it's the sort of story that I would forget over the years, so it's nice to have this photo. So I'm using Vicki Boutin Print Shop for this because I think the colours will work really nicely, and it's a nice neutral collection. It isn't themed in any way, so I like that. So I'm using one of Vicky's older stencils, and I want to get lots of circles on this photo to emulate the wheels of the roller boots that we're wearing. So now I'm going to go in with one of the shimmers paints. Now I've added that textured paste on and just add some colour. Starting with this orange. I forget what the colour is. It's got yam in the title. I am here for you, something like that. So just using the packaging technique to start off to get some of the colour down, and then using my brush to smudge it over the rest of the texture paste. So just blurring it all out there. I don't want the colour to be too strong. Just a hint of the peach that Lianne's got on her dress there. Just checking that the photo, that there's enough on there and the photo is going to cover the blank spot, and then not wanting to waste anything that's on the sheet, I just go over a little bit more. Here I am, that's right. And now this one is one of the Lindy's Magicals in something to do with steel. Hopefully we'll see in a minute. I haven't got them to hand. And I'm just smudging this in to add some, because there are some very dark colours in this photo. I didn't want it to be just peach. And I really like the accents that brings in. So just adding some more at the top corner. In fact, that does get covered by papers and things, but you never know when you first start exactly what's going to happen. So it's always good to add it as if you weren't going to add anything else. Again, just going over with the packaging, just to create some more texture and dimension. I will link these products in the description box for anybody who's interested in exactly what I used. So just creating that nice corner effect there, because the photo is going to go in the top left hand corner. So I want there to be vertical and horizontal lines coming out from that photo. So moving that to one side to dry, and I'll start working on the strips that are going to come down the left hand side and along the top of the page. So bringing in my scallop punch and this lovely purple dotty paper, and I've just gone through the papers that are well, not scraps, but papers that I've already started to use, and checking if there were any colours that matched, and in fact it was fine. I found this purple dotty one, there's a peach, wood grain, and some black and white ones, and a navy. So all those colours go really nicely with this. So just creating that strip, and then I'll cut it off and then start building this layered edge piece while that mixed media is drying. So coming in now with this scallop black, I love this paper. And I'm just going to cut a straight piece for that scallop to be mounted underneath. Cutting off the branding strip. And these papers are all from the paper pad. I decided to go with the paper pad for this collection rather than loose paper sheets. And it's more flimsy than the open card stock, but it's fine. It works really nicely, and you have the bonus of some extra pieces that you can't buy as loose sheets. So just fiddling now and working out exactly how I want these to go. And here's that lovely peach wood grain that I was talking about. So just tearing a strip off there, and then these three are going to be layered. Takes me a little while to work out which way I want them to be layered, but now I've got it. I'll glue them together with my wet PVA glue, and then move on to the top section. And it's here when I'm laying these together that I see the navy on the reverse of that peach and think that'll work really well at the top with some more of that purple. So just adding that peach strip, and at first I think I want the navy to go into this block, but it was becoming too much paper for me, so although I lay it on here thinking I'm going to add it there, in fact it gets moved to the top of the page and I'm much happier with that. So now that mixed media is dry, I can really start to build things and see exactly the direction I'm taking. So here's that purple dot again. I'll try and use the same papers along the top as I do along the side, or very similar ones, so that it all coordinates nicely. And here we go, this is where I move that navy. And now coming in with another black and white, so it's a different black and white, but it still echoes the black and white that I've got on the left hand side of the page. And my rounded notebook punch, which I love, just to create a bit of texture along that bottom strip, and it's something different from the scallop. I didn't want it to be exactly the same. I don't like things to be too matchy-matchy. So just roughing up the edges of that notebook piece, and then I'm going to stack these three together and then stick them along the top. So here we go, again using the wet glue, these will just lie along the top of the page. And I'm happy with that, worked out exactly what to do with the corner. I always struggle whether to overlap them or intertwine them. I've gone with intertwining this time, so you'll see as I glue them down, just slotting that top piece underneath the peach for continuity, and it makes a neat corner, and then just gluing everything down with my PVA. And I've not gone right up to the very edge of the page, I like to have a little bit of a border there. So just roughing things up, checking that I'm happy with the positioning, and now I can work out where to put the photo. At first I think I might tuck it underneath all the layers, but I think I prefer it standing proud, so I'm going to mount it on some of my 25mm 6-2 foam pads. These are out of stock at Hey Little Magpie at the moment, but they are due back in hopefully by the end of this week. So if you're looking for them, add yourself to the notify me, and they'll be there soon. So if you're eagle-eyed, you'll notice that I left one of the papers on again in the bottom left-hand corner. So it was only when I was doing this voiceover that I noticed that, so I'll go back and take that off. Now going on to the 6x12 sticker sheet, and I find a little flag that says "This is us," and I think that's really cute for a picture of Lianne and I. So add that there. For those of you who don't know me, Lianne worked with me at Hey Little Magpie for years and years and years. Hey Little Magpie was Sarah and Lianne, but she's gone on to bigger and greater things now. She's at university currently, and I miss her terribly, but we're still best of friends. So while she's not here at Hey Little Magpie, we're still very much Sarah and Lianne. So now going in with these stamps. I love this stamp set from Vicki Boutin. It's circles, so what's not to love? And I've not had a play with them yet, so this layout was my opportunity. So first of all, taking the title stamp, the Love This, and that's the name of the collection of stamps. I'm just stamping this over a scrap of paper from the 6x8 paper pad, again in this peachy pink, and I've just done a couple of those and punching it out with my 1.5 inch circle punch. I find some of these fussy cut flowers that I've done previously, so just add those while I'm looking through the scraps of paper to see what I can stamp onto. So I use my Distress Oxide in Black Soot to stamp that Love This, and now I'm going in with Uncharted Mariner and this wheel, and I'm just stamping it onto some scrap white card, just making a few, and then I can choose the best. And again going in with that 1.5 inch circle punch to punch these out and start layering them up around the page. And then onto the next stamp. I do clean all these up afterwards, don't worry, I'm not just putting them back. It's just for continuity on the video, it's easier just to keep going and not clean up after each one. So this is another round circle and the concentric circle, and the dried marigold ink from Tim Holtz and Ranger. So again, just stamping onto some scrap paper. Stamped onto some scrap card as well, punching out with my 1 1/4 inch punch this time, just to get a closer punch to the actual stamped image, and then doing another one in the 1 1/4 circle, which I'll tuck under there. And then adding some to this very dark paper. I just wanted to see how these Distress Oxides stamped onto darker paper, whether they were opaque enough to show up, and they do actually. It's a subtle look, but it looks really good on the page. So as I say, just placing these around the page, deciding exactly where to go. I wasn't certain what I was going to do when I started this. And now this is my 1 1/2 inch punch, just going slightly bigger with this one. I like different size circles on my page. So next I'm going to go in with this line starburst style stamp, and I'm using saltwater taffy to bring in some of that pinky peach and going over the concentric circles. And I really like the look that that creates. It's almost like a spider's web. But it's lovely to bring some of that pink in. So looking to see what else there is. And then I find this circle full of circles, if you like. It's almost like a circle of bubbles. So just going over the top of the orange concentric circles first of all, and then trying it on the side. And then I'm going to stamp it over some printed papers again. So first of all, this text paper, and then going in with just cleaning that off, going in with the Uncharted Mariner over the same paper. And then using the 1 1/4 inch punch to get a close punch on this. And how amazing does that look? I really love the look of that. First of all, I think I want to try the marigold, but then I decided to come in with some black soot to create a really bold look. I'm going in with the 1 1/4 inch punch. And these circles do get moved around the page. I'm just positioning them really. And now I'm coming in with my 1 inch punch because I wanted to punch a border. Now it went off centre there because I should have punched the smaller circle first and then come in with the bigger circle afterwards. But I really like the look of that half crescent moon. And then when I turn the paper over, I see that I've got some of that test stamp where I'd use the concentric circles in the marigold and then the saltwater taffy tiny circles. And I really like how that's off centre. So I end up using that as well. So now coming back in with one of those stencils from the older Vicki Boutin collection and my antique linen, and I just want to add a little bit of stenciling to the background where these circles are going to sit, just to provide layers, and it adds a lot more dimension to the page. So just working out where I want my punched circles to go, and then I can come in with the antique linen and the stencil. And these are almost going to be like a background for those punched circles. And then I just want to add a few to the layers that I've got going around the page, just so that they don't look odd on their own with those punch circles. It's just blending everything in. Final one down the bottom here, and then that's the stencil done. So now I think I want to start gluing down these circles and working out what my title is. I thought I'd glue the circles down, but clearly not. So my title is going to be The Story, and this is from the puffy stickers. And it's just going to go up the top there, and then my journaling is going to go to the right hand side of it. I'm trying to keep the majority of the layout in this top left hand triangle. Here we go. So I'm sticking down those circles now, just with the wet glue. It's easy to just lift them up and pop them on. And some of them are going to go up onto foam tape. So cutting up some of those 25mm foam squares, and then using the sticks to 5mm foam squares on the smaller bits as well. And I love the layering effect that you get by using the foam, and with the photo popped up on the foam as well, it works really nicely. Almost done. And this one I've used the bits left over from cutting up the 25mm square and then adding some of those 5mm, and because they're all from sticks too, they all work perfectly together. They're the same height, so it's great. So now just working out exactly what I wanted to do with this cluster up at the top before they get glued down as well. So journaling now, just adding some guidelines because I can't write straight. And the journaling just reads, Rob, Lianne and I went to Wigan roller rink to celebrate her 36th birthday. It must be 30 years since I last wore skates. Thankfully, it's just like riding a bike. So now sticking that bit down. I think sometimes I position things and then leave it just to check that I am happy with the positioning before I go ahead and finally glue it all down. I'm popping this flower up on foam pads. Just to make it pop. I do love having different layers on a layout. And this is another one that I had. So just seeing if I can make that work, and it looks nice. It gives more balance by adding that to the bottom. So now just going around this puffy sheet and seeing if there's anything, and there's some nice little circle bits that I can add. And this is a Hey Little Magpie flare badge, flat-backed fair badge that just says adventure on it, so that works really nicely there. And now going through the sticker sheet just to see if there's anything else that I can add. And I find this that says capture, and I like that there. And then this round piece says tell the story. And then this purple one is something to be thankful for. And I'm very thankful for my friendship with Lianne and all that we do. We do have some adventures sometimes. I see that flare's got a bit wonky, but I do notice that in a minute and straighten it. And this arrow just pointing to the photo, it just adds a bit of something up at the top there. And then I love this title that says super duper, so that does make it to the bottom there. I just mount it up on foam pads. It makes it easier to stick it down because you've got all that texture paste there. It's quite wobbly, and I don't know how well it would stick without sitting on top of something. Certainly you'd need to use your own glue to adhere it down. There we go, I noticed that adventure had gone a bit wonky. So now I've added that super duper, everything seemed a little bit too tight there. So I'm just moving that tell the story circle down a bit, and it works much better down there. So now going through the sticker book to see if there's anything here, and I want to add a little tab at the right hand side here, and I will actually date stamp that with the date 17th of December 2015. I can't remember if I did that on camera or if I remembered after I finished shooting. And this little flag just says celebrate, and it's a nice thing to draw your eye down from that little top cluster. So now I want to add some black splatters, so I'm going in with my black soot, and I've seen Missy Wooden doing this where she squeezes the paint down the paintbrush to get nice big fat blobs. but I really struggled to do it. I managed to get a few, but it really wasn't working. So in the end, I just go back to just flicking the paintbrush. You can see me trying and trying, but it doesn't really work. That's the last one I do before I start flicking. And I managed to get it all over that Tell the Story sticker, which wasn't my intention. And that's it. So thank you so much for joining me today. I really hope you've enjoyed watching my process video. Please do give me a like and subscribe if you haven't already. I greatly appreciate it. On these close-ups you can see that I did actually come back in with my machine, my sewing machine, and stitch some black stitching along the 2 strips along the top and down the side. I just felt that it added a little bit more black and texture and definition to the page. Thank you so much again. I'll see you soon. Bye.